Hello everyone, welcome back to Computer Science with Mr. Hernandez. Today we're going to be looking at how to create some user-defined blocks in Scratch. So let's get into it. What we're going to be doing is creating something like this. Okay, very simple movement that's happening, and you can see that it's just going in a circle, and we're going to create this, but we're going to make it with user-defined blocks so that it makes it easier to change and adapt in the future. So this is coming from our notes on abstraction. And what I'm going to want us to do is just download this abstraction demonstration file, please. Okay, so just download that to your computer. Remember, you just need to hit that little download button right there. And then we're going to create a new project in Scratch. And all you have to do is file, load from your computer, and then I know I have several files here, but just the user-defined blocks starter program. So here's the starter program. So now you have that background, but notice how there's no code in here. So you don't need to move in or make any of these letters or anything in your own project. All you got to do is download that starter project so you don't have to worry about any of that stuff as we get started. So what we want to do is obviously we want to make the little Scratch cat move around in that little circle, going from A, B, D, C, and back to A. Okay. And what would be awesome is if we can make it do it 3 times and then return back to the starter position. And that's where these user-defined blocks are going to come in. What we want to happen is we want something to happen when the green flag is clicked. So when that green flag gets clicked, then we're going to want that little Scratch cat to move around in a circle. We want it to go from A, or we want it to move to A first, and then B, D, and then C, and then just rotating around. So all we need to do is go here to My Blocks. Okay, we're going to do this several times, but I'm going to show you just initially with just A. Okay, we're going to make a block, and you can have input, where you could do any labels. We don't need any of that. We just need to change the name, and we're going to call it location A, lock A. So we're going to define like lock A. Okay, and notice here on the left side over in this area that we get this lock A block that we can use. Okay, what we need to do is we're going to tell lock A what to do first. All right, so lock A is going to be in this location right here. So lock A, we want the cat to move to the letter A. All right, so when we do that, it's going to be a motion, and we're going to glide for 1 second to this position. And negative 162 to 102 are the X and Y coordinates that we're going to be using. All right, now when we want to use, so notice here when I click the green flag, nothing happens. Let me move the cat to the starter position, click the green flag, nothing's happening. And that's because when the green flag is clicked, we needed to use this lock A block that we created. So let's go ahead and go to My Blocks, and there's a lock A right here. Drag that in. Now let's see what happens when we hit the green flag. Well, it said, all right, use the lock A block, the one that we defined, and it glided from the start location to letter A. Nothing else happened, just glides to A. So one thing that we're going to want to do is create a starter position so I don't have to keep moving the cat back. And this is going to be very useful for a lot of your programs to have like an initialization definition. So when we start this program, we always want the cat to start in this position. So let's create a new block. We're going to make a block again. We're going to start it, start. And we're going to define the start just to be in this position. No, I'm not going to use the go to or anything. It's just going to be start in this position. So negative 50, 28 seems to be where my X and Y coordinates are. And so it's always going to start there. And if it's not starting there, I'm going to make it start there. So when the green flag is clicked, if I move over here, it's going to jump to the center. So it's going to jump, the cat's going to jump over here to the center, and then it's going to move over here to A. Okay, so let me start this green flag, started in the center, moved over to A. But when it's done, I want it to go back to that start position. So let's go back to the start position, and this is why it's really nice. I don't have to use the go to and type in the -50, 28. All I have to do is bring in start. This is why abstraction and creating your own definitions are going to be very useful in computer science. So let's see it now. It should start in the center, go to A, and then return back to the center this time. And that's what happened. But you kind of was a little bit jumpy there. So let's put a weight in there. We're going to put a weight inside a definition of lock A. So wait 1 second. We'll just have it wait for a second. Stop, wait, go back. All right. Now we need to put in all these other locations. So let's put in these other locations. And all I'm going to do, one quick thing that I like to do is I like to move where should it be. That way the X and Y coordinates are going to be exactly where I want them. So I'm going to create a new block. And this one's going to be called lock B. Okay, and lock B is going to be very similar to lock A. We are going to glide to this position, 133.82, that seems right. And then we're going to wait for 1 second. And then we're going to go to lock D. So let's create location D. And I'm going to want to glide on top of D, so right there. So we'll glide 1 second there, and notice my X and Y are already set. And then we're going to make it wait for a second. And then we want it to move to location C. So lock C right there. And let's make a new block. Lock C. Oops, I misspelled. Lock C. All right. And we'll move lock C right there. And then we'll just have it move to this position, glide to the X and Y. And again, we'll have it wait just for a second. So let's see what happens when I hit the green flag now. Okay, so it seems just to move to A, pause, and then move back to the center. And that's because when the green flag is clicked, we never had it do any of these different locations. We never had to go to B, C, D, and then back to the start. We just have it moving to A. So we need to add in all these different locations into this green flag starter. So we want it to go from A to B. So now this is where it's really nice. After location A, we're going to move it to location B. And then we just need to type that in. We don't have to do anything else. It's all going to be right there. We don't have to redo any of this code. And then from B, we can go to D. And then from D, we'll go to C. And then from C, we'll go back to A. So let's see how this looks now. So now it's going to A, then it's jumping over to B, then it's going down to D, over to C, back up to A, and then it stops at the start position. If you're thinking back to the original that we saw, we had actually going around in a circle 3 times. So let's see if we can make that happen. And instead of making all of these definitions have it repeat in there, because that's going to be way too much, all we're going to do is throw a loop in here, and it's going to go through these defined blocks that we created. So let me throw in a control, and we're going to do a small repetition. I will drag it in there, and we're going to have it go around in a circle 3 times. So we want it to start, and then we want it to go around in a circle 3 times. So we want it to go from A, B, D, C, and then repeat back to A. Okay, so we don't want it to go back to the start, so I'm going to bring that out. So it was A, B, D, C, and then back to A. But you see, we're going to have a hiccup here, because if you're looking at it right here, we have A, and then we have A again. So we don't want that last A to be in here, okay? But we do want it outside of the loop, so that after this C, after it repeats for the 3rd time, it goes up to A, and then back to the start position. So let's see it go. This is going to be loop 1. So A, B, D, C, goes up to A. This is loop 2. B, D, C, up to A. So this is going to be loop 3. Okay, A, B, D, C. But we want it to go back to A, so we're outside the loop, and then stop at the start position. So using these defined blocks, notice here I didn't have to keep retyping all of these gliding and movement and wait codes. It just repeated it for me, and I don't have to keep going in and repeat code. That's going to be one thing in computer science. You never want to repeat code. All right, if you can write code that calls on itself multiple times, that's going to be better code than writing glide to and wait 100 times. Could we have done this program in the same way? Yes, you could definitely do it without any definition blocks. But doing it like this is going to create better programming techniques for you in the future. If you're struggling with understanding these things as you're going through it, please reach out to me for some help. I'm Mr. Hernandez, and I'm always here to help.
Fearless. I am fearless. I am fearless.